If I could train to jump every hurdle this little track meet of death threw at me, maybe someday I'd wake up in a world with a tomorrow. All You Need Is Kill. Written by Hiroshi Sakurazaka, translated by Alexander O. Smith. It's a book, it's a manga, it's a movie under a different name. 2 different names, actually. This is going to be one of those What Writers Can Learn videos. How, as a writer, can I make readers fall in love with my characters? Relatable character traits are not enough. Your character covers her mouth when she laughs because she's self-conscious about her teeth. That's a good start, but if it doesn't impact the story, then it's no better than freckles or a unibrow. And we need some of those details, but we'd like to go further. Rita Vertasky likes 3 sugars in her coffee. Insignificant. Dull. Cage remembers that she likes 3 sugars, something he couldn't possibly know unless he's already lived this moment. Now we're cooking. Now we've got something. But what does it mean to impact the story? You pick up a book, manga, movie like All You Need Is Kill, and you might think the story is, how does the hero defeat marauding aliens to save mankind? Wrong. The story is about characters. It's about how marauding aliens affect people. Which is why the umeboshi scene in All You Need Is Kill is brilliant and makes us fall in love with these characters. What happens in the umeboshi scene? They have an eating contest. Relatable just means you can imagine people doing these things, not that everyone has done them. In fact, you want the action to be a little bit unique, at least a little bit surprising. I've never participated in an eating competition. I frankly think they're disgusting. So why do I love these characters when they do it? Because I know people that engage in stupid eating competitions, especially people like soldiers, people who have a ton of camaraderie and always want to build more. I was never a soldier, but I was a member of a tight-knit and somewhat intense sports team in college, which certainly has some similarities. In fact, some members of the cross-country team devised something they called the 10K Challenge. The first person to complete a 10,000-meter run, followed by lifting 10,000 cumulative pounds via a single exercise, followed by eating 10,000 calories of one food item, followed by another 10,000-meter run, that person wins the race. You can't start on the next event until the previous event is finished. The weightlifting one means that, for example, if you choose pull-ups and you weigh 200 pounds, then since 10,000 divided by 200 is 50, you have to do 50 pull-ups. Regarding what counts as one food item, that was agreed upon by participants. For example, pizza was considered one food item, provided that it was plain cheese pizza. This was a horrible and disgusting challenge for a group of college athletes who decided that the beer mile was too easy. But by God, did the participants and onlookers feel like they were involved in something epic together. And when I read about characters eating contests, I think back to this thing that I witnessed. I relate it to my own experience, even though it's secondhand. We make our readers fall in love with our characters by having our characters express their relatability by taking actions that are familiar, yet perhaps carry an element of risk. Actions always speak louder than words, and risk is a secret and important ingredient. Leave room in your story for your characters to do something stupid, something selfish, something trivial that has nothing to do with the big bad villain, something personal, something human. Steven Spielberg is a master of this, and his best movies have these little moments that make us love his characters. I think of the moment in Jurassic Park where Alan Grant pretends to be electrocuted by the fence.
That's not funny. That was great.
This has nothing to contribute to the objective of we need to get away from the dinosaurs and get to safety, but it's this amazing character moment, it's this amazing personal moment, it's so fantastic. Leave room for that in your stories, and readers will love your characters. Next up is the power of subtext. Making your reader read between the lines is always more powerful than explicitly telling the reader which direction is up. In the movie adaptation of All You Need Is Kill, which by the way is wildly different from the book, Rita wants to kill the alien core and not get emotionally entangled because she's been there. She knows how much it hurts. But Cage has already fallen in love with her and is losing sight of the end goal. So a lesser screenwriter might have written dialogue like this. "You're falling in love with me, aren't you?" "I can't help it, Rita. You have to stay focused on killing the Omega. If you develop feelings for me, it'll eat you up inside." "It's too late, Rita. I love you." Instead, the actual scene is much, much better. None of this is spelled out, and that is purely to the benefit of the audience. Be indirect when you've got something emotional to say, or even something unemotional. That's how humans do. We don't answer questions directly very often. Sometimes you do, but often we talk past each other because things hurt too much to approach directly. Speaking of delivering information to the reader, exposition is when you need to give your reader a lecture on some topic. They need to get some information, but lectures are boring. What to do? Avoid exposition if possible. Deliver the information in small doses through setting details, through dialogue perhaps, through character investigations. Let the reader discover the information alongside the character. If that's not feasible, if you can't avoid the exposition, you should make the exposition contain conflict. The opening of Edge of Tomorrow, the movie adaptation, delivers exposition through a series of news stories. This is bad exposition. It's about a conflict, but it's not delivered as a conflict. Contrast that with a different movie, Minority Report. This particular scene where the central sci-fi element of the story needs to be explained for the audience, but it's framed as an audit that has the potential to shut down the whole operation. So this character has to explain, yes, but also has to defend what they do to the auditor, or else consequences. That is presentation of exposition through conflict. And third, avoid at all costs characters blandly prompting for more exposition. If you see in your writing a character saying, "as you know," it's implied that the audience does not know. That's boring. People see through that. Don't do that. A good title makes a reader pick up a book and start reading. That is the title's entire job. I suppose the title should also accurately represent the book it's slapped on, otherwise people are going to feel betrayed, and I have had that experience and it does not feel good and it does not make me happy about the book. But let's talk titles. I assume some corpse in a suit vetoed the book title and replaced it with the bland Edge of Tomorrow, and they added confusion to injury and retitled the Blu-ray Live, Die, Repeat. So let's look at these three titles. The book title. All you need is kill. Good Things. It's short. It's memorable. It signals violent action, which is accurate. Bad Things. The Beatles reference is completely unrelated to the novel. It never comes up, not even in passing. Nobody is a Beatles fan. It's also annoyingly ungrammatical. I give this title a B+, but my wife wants you to know that she hates it and gives it a failing grade. Edge of Tomorrow, the original movie title. Benefits, it's inoffensive. Downsides, it's bland. It's forgettable. I give this title a C-, possibly lower. I suppose it could be worse. Live, Die, Repeat, which is the title that was given to the movie but only when it was released on Blu-ray. This is actually my favorite. It's catchy, it's memorable, it's short, it ties into the premise. The only downside I see is that it could potentially be a bit of a spoiler. I give this title an A-, possibly higher. I would read this book. Endings. Upcoming minor spoilers for the movie ending. I'm not going to spoil the novel at all. As I mentioned, they are actually quite distinct. If you hadn't heard of Edge of Tomorrow, it's probably because it didn't do as well as it needed to at the box office. This was due to a number of factors, everything from the bland retitling, crappy and confusing marketing. It came out in the wake of another much shittier Tom Cruise sci-fi film. But my criticism of the movie is really only for the ending. The book doesn't have a perfect ending, I'll say. It leaves a little bit hanging, but it's a short book, and the ending is bittersweet, stays focused on the human characters at the center of the drama. Definitely a good enough ending. Not upset with that ending. But the movie ending, it has no bite. There's no bitter to go with the sweet. The ending has every hallmark of a design by committee of suits happy ending. I swear Hollywood couldn't find a lone testicle worth of courage if they had their heads between their legs. Happily ever after endings are for babies. There's got to be a little bit of cost, a little bit of sacrifice, some loss to balance with the gain. Supposedly there was an alternative ending to the movie and an earlier, considerably darker script, but there were problems there as well and a lot of argument about that, and we ended up with what we ended up with. So my advice, though, for writers is this. 1. Your ending should be foreshadowed. It shouldn't come out of nowhere. 2. It should match the tone of the rest of the work. 3. A big victory will have more impact if it comes with a little sting of loss. And vice versa. A tragic loss will be more memorable and satisfying if laced with just a little bit of victory. So, should I read it? Should I see it? Hell yes. I burned through this book. The action is brutal. You can taste iron and feel dirt in your teeth as you're reading it. And balancing the action are these quiet personal moments that show you what these people are fighting for and make you care. It's the complete package. If you enjoy military sci-fi, this is a must-read. And if you haven't seen the movie, well, you should also see the movie. It's a masterclass in concept, pacing, and practical special effects. The novel is excellent, the movie is excellent, and the two are so different that neither one spoils the other. They parallel each other's excellence, and each plays to the strengths of their respective forms. And props to the translator of the novel, Alexander O. Smith. If there are any weaknesses to the prose because it's been translated from Japanese, I didn't notice them. It's a short and easy read, you've got no excuses, all you need is kill, Edge of Tomorrow, Live, Die, Repeat, a must-read novel, must-see film, there's even the manga if that's your jam. Check them out.